A waterfall 5 times taller than Niagara. Hidden in a jungle no one visits. A country that became the world's fastest-growing economy overnight. A border dispute that could trigger the next South American war. Today, we're exploring 50 mind-blowing facts about Guyana that will change how you see our world. Fact 1. The only English-speaking nation. Here's something that shouldn't exist in South America. Every country on the continent speaks Spanish or Portuguese, except one. Guyana is the only nation in South America where English is the official language, a linguistic island surrounded by 400 million Spanish and Portuguese speakers. Fact 2. The name means land of many waters. The word Guyana comes from an indigenous term meaning exactly that, and they weren't exaggerating. The country has over 300 waterfalls scattered through its rainforest, rivers that feed both the Amazon and the Caribbean. Water is literally everywhere you look. Fact 3. 80% forest cover. Imagine a country almost entirely swallowed by trees. Guyana is 80% pristine rainforest. That's higher than the Amazon basin average. You could fit the entire population into one small city and still have endless wilderness. One of Earth's last great forest frontiers. Fact 4. Kaieteur Falls. The hidden giant. This island nation hides the world's most powerful single-drop waterfall. Kaieteur Falls plunges 741 feet in one unbroken cascade, 5 times taller than Niagara, twice the height of Victoria Falls. Yet fewer people visit it in a year than Niagara sees in a single day. Fact 5. 23,400 cubic feet per second. The raw power of Kaieteur is almost incomprehensible. Every second, 23,400 cubic feet of water explodes over the cliff. That's the volume of 9 Olympic swimming pools every minute. The roar can be heard from miles away through the jungle. Nature's thunderclap that never stops. Fact 6. The golden rocket frog. At Kaieteur lives a tiny amphibian found nowhere else on Earth. The golden rocket frog is the size of your thumbnail. It spends its entire life inside a single giant bromeliad plant near the falls. The constant mist creates a miniature ecosystem in these plants, an entire species living in a plant you could carry in your hands. Fact 7. Mount Roraima, the triple border. A massive table mountain stands where 3 countries collide. Mount Roraima marks the exact point where Guyana, Venezuela, and Brazil meet, rising 9,219 feet with sheer 1,300-foot cliffs on all sides. The summit is a 31-square-kilometer plateau of alien landscapes, a geographic monument shared by 3 nations. Fact 8. The real Up Mountain. Remember Pixar's movie Up with the floating house and Paradise Falls? Mount Roraima directly inspired that fictional world. Its flat-topped tepui design and cloud-wrapped summit, the ancient sandstone formations, and isolated ecosystem. Disney brought Guyana's mountain to life on screen. Fact 9. 70 to 90 million years of isolation. The summit of Mount Roraima is a lost world in the truest sense. Its ecosystem has been isolated for up to 90 million years. Species evolved here that exist nowhere else on the planet. Carnivorous plants, unique orchids, endemic tree frogs. Evolution's private laboratory perched in the clouds. Fact 10. Population smaller than Austin, Texas. Guyana has fewer than 800,000 people. That's less than Austin, Texas, or Charlotte, North Carolina. Spread across a country the size of Idaho, it's one of the least densely populated nations on Earth. You could drive for hours and see absolutely no one. Fact 11. 90% live on the coast. Here's the twist. Almost nobody lives in the interior. 90% of Guyanese people cram into a narrow coastal strip. The rest of the country is virtually empty wilderness, millions of acres of rainforest with maybe a few villages, an entire nation hugging the ocean's edge. Fact 12. The fastest growing economy on Earth. In 2022, Guyana's economy grew by 62.3%, the highest real GDP growth rate in the world. In 2024, it grew another 43.8%. For 2 consecutive years, this tiny nation led global economic expansion, a financial rocket ship disguised as a jungle country.
Fact 13. From poverty to prosperity in 5 years. A decade ago,
Guyana's GDP per capita was $5,400. Today, it's over $30,000. That's a six-fold increase in 10 years. By 2029, it's expected to reach $38,680, the fastest wealth transformation in modern history. Fact 14. The 2015 oil discovery. Everything changed on a single day in 2015. ExxonMobil struck oil 100 miles offshore. Not just any oil, one of the largest discoveries in 50 years, over 11 billion barrels of recoverable reserves, a discovery that rewrote Guyana's entire future. Fact 15. 4 years from discovery to production. What normally takes a decade, Guyana did in 4 years, from first oil discovery in 2015 to commercial production in 2019. That's nearly unheard of in the energy industry. Deepwater projects typically take 7 to 10 years minimum, speed that stunned the entire petroleum world. Fact 16. Producing 658,000 barrels per day. As of January 2025, Guyana pumps over 658,000 barrels daily from 3 massive floating production vessels. That number will hit 1.7 million barrels by 2030, making Guyana one of the world's largest oil producers per capita, a country of 800,000 people controlling billions in energy. Fact 17. 2/3 of the country is disputed. Venezuela claims 61,600 square miles of Guyana. That's 2/3 of the entire nation. The oil-rich Essequibo region that Venezuela calls stolen territory, a border dispute dating back 200 years, the kind of conflict that starts wars. Fact 18. The 2023 Venezuelan referendum. In December 2023, Venezuela held a referendum on annexing Essequibo. 95% voted yes to claim the land as Venezuelan territory. President Maduro immediately signed it into law, creating a new Venezuelan state that Guyana still controls, a paper conquest of someone else's land. Fact 19. Venezuela's military is 100 times larger. Guyana's military has just 5,000 soldiers. Venezuela commands over 500,000 armed forces personnel. The power imbalance is staggering. That's why the US, UK, and Brazil stepped in to help. A David versus Goliath scenario playing out right now. Fact 20. The Jonestown Massacre. On November 18, 1978, the world witnessed unimaginable horror in Guyana. 918 people died in a mass murder-suicide at Jonestown, an American cult led by Jim Jones in the remote jungle. Over 300 victims were children, the largest single loss of American civilian life until 9/11. Fact 21. Cyanide-laced fruit punch. The method was calculated and cruel. Babies were poisoned first with syringes. Then adults drank cyanide mixed into fruit punch. Some went willingly. Others were forced at gunpoint. A tragedy that defined the word cult. Fact 22. Congressman Leo Ryan's murder. U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan flew to Jonestown to investigate. When cult members tried to escape with him, Jones panicked. Ryan and 5 others were ambushed at the airstrip, all shot dead as they boarded their planes. The murders that triggered the final massacre. Fact 23. 9 indigenous tribes. Before colonizers arrived, 9 indigenous tribes called this land home. The Waiwai, Makushi, Patamona, Arawak, Carib, and others. Many still live in remote villages deep in the rainforest, preserving languages and traditions thousands of years old, the original keepers of the land of many waters. Fact 24. British Guyana until 1966. For over 150 years, this was British Guyana, a colonial sugar plantation powered by enslaved labor. Independence came on May 26, 1966, but the British influence remains in the language and legal system, a South American nation with a Caribbean soul. Fact 25. The Golden Arrowhead Flag.
Guyana's flag tells a story in 5 colors: green for jungles and agriculture, white for the country's many rivers, red for zeal and sacrifice, black for perseverance, gold for the mineral wealth beneath the soil.
Fact 26. Georgetown, the Garden City. The capital, Georgetown, was once called the Garden City of the Caribbean. Dutch-style colonial architecture lines the wooden streets. Seawalls protect the city from the Atlantic. Much of Georgetown sits below sea level, a tropical Amsterdam fighting back the ocean. Fact 27. The Demerara Bridge. One of the longest floating bridges in the world crosses the Demerara River, over a mile of pontoons connecting Georgetown to the west. It opens like a drawbridge to let ships pass. During rush hour, the wait can stretch for hours, a floating highway that rides the river's waves. Fact 28. 2,700 plus identified plant species. Scientists have cataloged over 2,700 plant species in Guyana, and they estimate thousands more remain undiscovered. The forests are a pharmacy of unknown medicines. Indigenous healers have used these plants for centuries. A botanical treasure chest we're only beginning to open. Fact 39. The giant anteater. Guyana is home to the world's largest anteater species. Giant anteaters can reach 7 feet long from snout to tail. They consume 30,000 ants and termites every day, using a tongue that extends 2 feet. A prehistoric creature roaming the savanna like it's still the Pleistocene. Fact 30. Giant river otters. These aren't your average otters. Giant river otters grow up to 6 feet long. They hunt in family packs like wolves, taking down piranhas and small caimans, the apex predators of Guyana's waterways. Fact 31. The Arapaima armor-plated fish. In Guyana's rivers swims one of the world's largest freshwater fish. The Arapaima can grow over 9 feet long and weigh 440 pounds. Its scales are so tough they're used as body armor. It breathes air like a mammal, a living fossil from the age of dinosaurs. Fact 32. Blue tarantulas discovered in 2017. Researchers discovered over 30 new species in Guyana in 2017, including a bright blue tarantula found nowhere else. Its electric blue coloring defies explanation, hidden in the canopy until scientists finally looked up, proof that we still don't know what's living in these forests. Fact 33. The harpy eagle. The harpy eagle is one of the world's most powerful raptors, talons the size of grizzly bear claws, strong enough to snatch monkeys and sloths from trees, with a wingspan stretching 7 feet, the apex predator of the rainforest canopy. Fact 34. The Rupununi Savanna. Not all of Guyana is jungle. The Rupununi Savanna is a vast grassland in the south, golden plains stretching to the horizon, home to jaguars, giant armadillos, and capybaras, where the Amazon meets the African plains. Fact 35. The Cock of the Rock. Near Waterfalls lives one of the world's most spectacular birds. The Guyanan cock of the rock glows electric orange. Males perform elaborate courtship dances in hidden forest clearings where only the persistent venture, a neon explosion of feathers in the green gloom. Fact 36. Shell Beach, Sea Turtle Haven. On Guyana's northwest coast lies a 90-mile beach. 4 species of endangered sea turtles nest here. Leatherbacks weighing 2,000 pounds crawl ashore to lay eggs in the same sand where they were born, one of the world's most important turtle nesting sites. Fact 37. The Guyanan Natural Resource Fund. Guyana created a sovereign wealth fund to manage oil money. By the end of 2024, it held over $3.1 billion, expected to reach $5.66 billion by end of 2025, designed to prevent the resource curse that destroyed Venezuela, saving today's wealth for tomorrow's generations. Fact 38. Indo-Guyanese majority. The largest ethnic group isn't indigenous or European. 40% of Guyanese are descendants of Indian indentured laborers, brought after slavery ended to work sugar plantations. They've shaped the culture with Hindu temples and curry dishes, a Caribbean nation with a distinctly South Asian flavor.
Fact 39. Afro-Guyanese heritage. 29% of the population descends from enslaved Africans. Their ancestors were brought here in chains by the Dutch, forced to cut sugarcane in brutal conditions. Today, their culture permeates Guyanese music, food, and identity, a painful history transformed into cultural strength.
Fact 40. 6 official languages recognized. While English is official, 6 Amerindian languages have special status: Akawayo, Makushi, Waiwai, Arawak, Patamona, and Wapashana, protected by law to preserve indigenous heritage, spoken in villages where roads don't reach. Living languages from before Columbus. Fact 41. St. George's Cathedral. Georgetown's cathedral is one of the world's tallest wooden buildings, rising 132 feet entirely from timber. Built in 1892 without a single nail in the original structure, Gothic spires piercing the tropical sky, a testament to 19th century engineering. Fact 42. The Essequibo River. The Guyana's longest river stretches 630 miles. It's so wide in places you can't see the opposite bank. Over 360 islands dot its course, the river that gave the disputed region its name, a liquid highway through the heart of the jungle. Fact 43. Ilocrama Rainforest. 1 million acres of pristine rainforest protected for research. The Ilocrama Forest is a living laboratory. Scientists discover new species almost annually. Indigenous communities help manage the reserve, where conservation meets traditional knowledge. Fact 44. Cricket obsession. In this South American nation, cricket is king. Guyana plays as part of the West Indies team, producing legendary players like Shiv Narayan Chanderpaul. Test matches draw crowds like nowhere else in the region, a British legacy that became a national passion. Fact 45. The Guyana Shield. Guyana sits on one of Earth's oldest geological formations. The Guyana Shield is over 2 billion years old, formed before complex life existed on the planet. Those ancient rocks created the Tepui Mountains, standing on stones older than oxygen. Fact 46. No snakes or mosquitoes. Cult leader Jim Jones sold Jonestown as paradise. He claimed there were no snakes or mosquitoes. Both were complete lies. Guyana has over 140 snake species and mosquitoes that could drain you dry. Fact 47. The Kanuku Mountains. In southern Guyana rise mountains lost to time. The Kanuku Range harbors unexplored valleys and caves. Scientists believe hundreds of undiscovered species live here, too remote for roads, accessible only by plane or weeks of hiking. Terra incognita in the 21st century. Fact 48. Christmas and Diwali are both holidays. Guyana celebrates Christian and Hindu festivals equally. Christmas lights share the streets with Diwali lamps. Mosques, churches, and temples coexist peacefully. A melting pot that actually melted, where diversity isn't just tolerated, it's celebrated.
Fact 49. The Triple Point Falls. Where 3 countries meet, water flows in 3 directions. Triple Point Falls sits exactly on the Brazil-Venezuela-Guyana border. Water tumbles and splits toward 3 different watersheds. One waterfall feeding 3 nations, a liquid monument to shared borders. Fact 50. Becoming an energy superpower. By 2030, Guyana will produce more oil per capita than any nation, a population smaller than a single U.S. city, controlling energy reserves that rival Middle Eastern powers. From one of the poorest to one of the richest in a single generation, the most dramatic economic transformation Earth has ever witnessed. Cinematic. From waterfalls hidden in jungles older than time to oil wealth discovered in a heartbeat, Guyana is geography's greatest paradox, a country where the jungle still has secrets, where borders are battle lines, and where a nation of 800,000 souls stands on the edge of becoming a global power. Somewhere beneath that canopy, another species is evolving that we'll never see. And somewhere offshore, another barrel of oil is rising that will reshape everything. The world is just starting to learn Guyana's name.